Today is a day where, for some odd reason, I have no idea what I want to talk about. So, on these days, I like to throw Twitter parties. I went on my Twitter and I asked you guys what you wanted to talk about today, and I'm gonna rapid fire through a few of these. So let's go. Maddie wants me to give you another pep talk, so let's freaking give you another pep talk. There's a lot of crap that happens. There's a lot of crappy people out there. But here's the thing, I'm gonna give you a little tidbit that's gonna make things seem a bit more simple for you. Regardless of what goes down, anywhere, how bad it is, how good it is, the only thing that you can do is your best, because that's literally the only option. That's what I try to tell myself all the time in any situation. I look at it and I say, what's the best I can do with this? And then I do it and I go for it, and whatever the result, I don't really have control of it at that point because I did my best, because that's literally all I can do. You're rad, you're beautiful, you're capable of doing amazing things, and you're alive. That's 4 awesome things about everything that happens. That's your pep talk. That's your pep talk. Glenna wants something unpredictable, random, and interesting. I think it can oblige that by melting. I melted. Does that cover it? Amelia wants us to talk about figuring out who you are as a person during those darn teenage years. Being a teenager is objectively awful, right? Because you simultaneously have a ton of expectations and no expectations at all. And that is just a ton of confusion to throw at somebody going through puberty. But it also is an amazing time to start to figure out who you want to be as a person. My advice here, dip your toes in as many things as possible. That isn't literally. Right, don't do that literally. You can't really know what you like until you've tried a lot of different things, because you might think you like something, and then you try something else, and you're like, oh, I didn't actually like that thing, because this is way, way better. I went into high school expecting to play soccer for 4 years, and I sat on the bench my entire freshman year, and I was like, this is it. This is what my high school is gonna be. And then I got peer pressured, and somehow found myself doing speech and debate, and turned out I loved it. Subsequently, I quit playing soccer the very next year and invested myself so intensely into speech and debate because I loved it so much, and it became an incredibly formative part of my personality. Try stuff. Try doing things that you wouldn't try otherwise. Just try things. Hannah wants us to talk about how to make big decisions without being overwhelmed. That is a doozy. I am a huge advocate of feeling things the way they're supposed to be felt. And what being overwhelmed with the decision tells me is that you're doing it correctly. With any kind of massive life choice or decision that causes you to be overwhelmed, my biggest piece of advice is to reflect on it, and reflect on your different options as much as you possibly can. I like to look at decisions like that as a math problem, almost, except way more vague than math. When I do a math problem, I sit there, I look at the problem itself, figure out the steps that I need to get to the desired outcome, and then I do the steps after the fact. Similarly, when I'm faced with a tough choice, I like to sit there, look at both options, figure out which path and where it could possibly lead, and then act on it. I like to break it down to its simplest form, like, this is the decision, this is where it could lead me, do I like the outcome? No, let's look at this one, do I like the outcome? And then figure it out from there. And finally, Jessie wants me to talk about motivation, because she has an essay due in 3 days, and she doesn't know how to figure out how to do this work thing. I find with things that you genuinely love to do, and things that get you excited, motivation is easy. Not always easy, but for the most part, it should be easy to get yourself motivated to do something that you love. The tricky part is when you have to get yourself motivated to do something that you don't particularly like, because you have to do it, but you still gotta do it, and you don't want to do it. This kind of ties in with a major life philosophy of mine. I brought it up in my last video a little bit, and it's regarding trust, and it's regarding the process, and it's regarding trusting that process. There's a lot of times when, in order to get what you really want, you have to do a lot of things that you don't really want to do. But when you zoom out a bit to look at the big picture of it all, that part that you don't want to do is part of the process of getting to do and getting to where you want to be. I currently am working at a job that on paper is not related at all to what I want to be doing with my life. Yet every morning at 6:30, I gotta wake myself up, get in the shower, and sit in rush hour traffic to work all day, to sit in rush hour traffic to drive home. Objectively, that is not something I want to be doing with my life. What I want to be doing with my life is this, all the time, every day, with as many people as possible. This is what I want to be doing with my life. But here's the thing, I can't do that with my life unless I get up at 6:30 in the morning and sit in traffic and go to work and make money and get that life experience that is contributing to me being a better person to do this better. That part that I'm doing that I don't necessarily want to do is part of this process that I have learned to trust and love so much. I keep myself motivated to do the things that I don't necessarily want to do because I trust this process, and I trust myself in this process. And this goes for personal crises as well, because some days you're not really motivated to exist, and I get that because I have been there. On days like that, I remind myself again about this process, and that it is a process. Everything's just not going to be good one day where it wasn't good the day before. It's a progressive incline, but within that incline there are good days, there are indifferent days, and there are bad days, but the general trend has to go up, because you know why? Because I trust that it will go up. There is always going to be a tomorrow, there's always going to be a point B, and I trust that there is going to be a point B, and that in and of itself is enough to give myself hope and motivate me to do the things that I don't necessarily want to do, but do because I believe in something. So that was fun. I got to talk about a lot of things in one video. I hope it wasn't too much to throw at your faces at once, but I enjoyed the experience. I had a lot of fun. I might do this again sometime, so definitely check out my Twitter, and just keep your eyes peeled for situations like this. If you guys have any more thoughts about the things that I talked about in this video, definitely share them down in the comments. I'll be reading them, responding to them, and just overall enjoying and basking in their glory. But yeah, as always, I'm Connor Manning. You've just become a little more awesome, and I will see you guys on Monday. I found a drumstick. I'm not a drummer. There are no drummers in my house. We have drumsticks apparently. I can twirl it. Yeah. Yeah.